It's like, hey, you like this?
Oh, that noise! Fuck.
That's what noise I make when I milk.
Howdy, folks. Three Sheets to the Mouse is an adult-themed podcast that may contain content and language not suited for younger cowboys and cowgirls. Now then, hang on to them hats and glasses, cause this here's the wildest podcast in the wilderness.
I know it sounds sorted, but you'll be rewarded when at last I am given my dues. And injustice deliciously squared, be prepared.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Three Sheets to the Mouse. We're five average guys with a love for all things Disney. A little bit different lineup this week. We have Matt Holmes with us instead of Scott. Scott's taking the week off.
What do you mean the week off? It's one frickin' day.
No, it's 2 weeks off because he's not going to be here next week either, and he
shows.
missed a live show.
And he stiffed us on the live show.
He will be back, though. Not to worry. Not that we're not happy to have Matt here with us.
And I don't think anybody was worried.
Matt, how are you doing tonight?
Hi, I'm doing well. It's good to be here.
What are you drinking?
Well, I had thought about doing some solidarity for my brother Adam over there, but I couldn't do it tonight. So I'm going with some Glenfiddich 12.
Ooh.
Hey, you're filling your role really well there, not Scott.
Yeah, there you go. Unscott, we'll call him. Anti-Scott.
He's our stunt Scott. That's what he is. He's the stunt Scott.
Stunt Scott! Okay. Adam, what are you drinking tonight, man?
All right. I actually have something. It's supposed to be another mixer, but it's called Dry Sparkling Vanilla Bean. Smooth, earthy, aromatic. It's actually pretty decent. It's not
Is it like
awful.
a cream soda?
No, it's almost like a tonic water with a hint of vanilla. It's actually kind of nice. A little bit sweet.
You know what that makes me think of? That tonic drink with the vanilla tonic from the Food and Wine Festival in the Light Lab.
No. It's not that disgusting. It's not that sweet. It's just a little hint of vanilla.
Okay.
It's good. It's decent. Tastes
Mikey?
better with vodka.
Real quick, though, before I say what I'm drinking, for the listeners who don't know what the hell a Matt Holmes is, because we just threw a name out there and that was it.
Well,
Matt
we'll
Holmes,
introduce him next.
I was assuming that everyone do.
We'll go through.
I was just fine. Adam has notes.
I do. I actually do.
Okay, well,
There's shit on this show.
I'm sorry. I have been drinking a lot of sweet tea this evening, but I've moved over to the monkey shoulder scotch right now.
Oh,
Nice.
And it's glorious. Everybody should go pick some up and ship it to me.
Well, Tim, how are you doing tonight? What are you drinking?
I'm drinking water.
Man.
you gotta stay
Plain old water.
Gotta stay hydrated.
That sounds really terrible. I'm not gonna
I
lie.
know. I got 2 more weeks of this shit left.
One more show
One more show, everybody.
without us drinking.
So I'm going to now hand it over to Adam. He's got the rundown on tonight's topic and show notes. So Adam.
Well, first let's introduce our special guest a little bit better. Mr. Matt Holmes. Let's hear from you. What say you?
I love the podcast. I don't know what to say.
Fair enough.
If you guys head over to the Facebook page, you'll know that Matt is one of our admins. He's one of our most trusted friends on the page. He's been a sheeter for a long time. He's a great contributor to the page, and we love having him around. So we thought, why not have one of our top sheeters on the show this week to be our 5th host? Because we also decided the show runs a little better when there's 5 of us.
Also, he has been in my house.
Yes, he's actually been on the podcast before, but as a guest.
Yeah, tequila doesn't make them drunk.
At my
Yes.
He was a sidekick.
That's right.
That was a rough night for me.
Yes,
So Matt, why don't you? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I still say yes. That was a rough night for several of us.
So Matt, why don't you tell us about your Disney love?
My Disney love. First memory I have of Disney is when I was. As a matter of fact, I found some old pictures that my dad had taken and had an old picture album. They're all yellowed and weathered. And I took some pictures of those pictures and I posted them on the group. And they are from within the first year that Epcot was built. So that was 83. What year did Epcot open? 82.
82.
So yes, this was in the summer of '83, and the pictures are just amazing. They're barren. There's nobody there. The countries are barely anything. But yeah, that was kind of my first memory, and of course that was when I was a kid, and then that memory felt like it lasted for years. Every year after that, I thought, man, we just got back. It was just a life-changing experience. So from after that, it was probably a senior in high school, and went back with my now wife. We were dating then, and just went like a family trip there. Went back for our honeymoon. We've been every year on the same week for 4 years straight now.
Wow.
Why
that week?
It works out with kids. When you have kids in school, that's the next week after school's out, and it always hits to where the Florida schools aren't quite out yet, so the crowds aren't terrible, and being early June, the temperatures aren't sweltering. They're still a little warm, but not as bad as it gets in August.
Fair enough, sir. Fair enough. So how'd you find our lovely little podcast?
I found it through another podcast, which
okay. One that shall not be mentioned, I take it.
And I don't know why I listen to podcasts when I'm at work. That's just what I do. They just ramble in my ears and I just soak it all in. And I found you guys through this other show, and once Mikey had mentioned something about being from Arkansas, and my ears popped up and went, whoa, I've got to know what these guys are all about. And I joined the group, started listening. I probably was only 3 or 4 away from when you guys started when I found you.
You have our condolences.
So yes, I've been there from the start.
Yeah, listening to those early episodes, that's rough.
I give you credit for sticking with it.
Last week, and I was like, oh my god.
So then I had a little. Yeah, I mean, as much as us in the group consider you guys celebrities in our minds, I actually reached out to Mikey and his wife, and it took the 90-minute drive south and met up with these guys. They're fantastic. Brought my son with me, and he and Boston hit it off fantastic, playing video games. That's about it.
Awesome. Very, very cool. All right. So I posed the question to everybody this week, Matt included. And I kind of said, if you can choose one story, fable, whatever it is, to have Disney go in and kind of make a movie out of, what would it be? And since Matt is our guest, I'm going to have him go first with his idea, and then will there be a poll on this later, Trenton?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Will you be on a poll later, Trenton?
Absolutely.
All right.
Wait, Trenton, did you tell us what you were drinking?
Absolutely. I did not.
Okay, fair enough. There we go. We got all thrown off.
Right? It's like Scott really is here. We're skipping people. Someone's getting some.
Well, at least I skipped myself. I didn't skip anybody else. I have.
Something you would never do.
I splurged a little bit this past weekend. I was doing a little celebrating. So I went and got a bottle of Four Roses single barrel.
Nice.
It was the best thing for the best price at the liquor store. So
I hear it makes Santa's rose cheeks so cherry. No wonder he's merry.
I haven't heard that one.
There was a little animated short that came out a couple of months ago about that.
Oh, yeah.
You might have been in it.
A few people might have seen that.
33
33.
at last count. But hey, speaking of animated shorts, Adam's got a show topic. And y'all thought I was going to say something completely different.
Pretty much.
We never know, man. With bated breath, I'm sitting there
Everybody
waiting.
kind of just took a step back and waited to hear what was going to come out next. All right, Matt, you ready?
I guess I'm ready. All right. So for this theme, I'm thinking about the Olympics that started this week, and I am thinking we're going back to the start of the Olympics, which were in Greece, and I'm going with the story of Pandora's box. And so I don't know if we want to go into the story of Pandora's box or if everybody pretty much knows the story, but I can give it kind of an overview.
Open that bitch.
Yeah. So so Zeus, the god of the gods there, he and his brother Prometheus, they kind of have brotherly quarrels every once in a while. So Prometheus was the god of the sun and fire, and Zeus was mad at people, and so he cast the people into darkness. Well, Prometheus kind of felt sorry for everybody, so he gave everybody fire and light, essentially. So Zeus was kind of mad at Prometheus for this, and for some reason he built a beautiful young girl, Pandora. I'm not sure why that's a bad thing, but sent Pandora down to Earth as a gift for Prometheus's brother, who lived on Earth. His brother's name was Epimetheus. Now, there's not a whole lot to know about who Epimetheus was at the time, just essentially Prometheus's brother. But Pandora and Epimetheus married, and along with Pandora, he sent the infamous locked box, and was told to never open the box. Didn't give a reason why, just said don't open the box. Well, after Pandora and Epimetheus married, she begged and begged and begged every night, can I open the box? Open the box. No. So one night, Epimetheus fell asleep. Pandora stole the key and inevitably unlocked the box, releasing the worst of the worst of everything that you can imagine into the world. Sickness, crime, worries, hate, envy, sloth, gluttony. I mean, essentially all the deadliest sins that there could be. She tried to scour the earth and bring all these back in, obviously very unsuccessfully. The only thing that kind of is a silver lining to the story is that the very last thing to leave the box was hope. And so that Zeus sent that in there to say, all this bad stuff's in there, but I'm going to throw hope out there just so you have a chance. And so it sent the story. You could give it the Disney spin on it is that it comes down to there's not a whole lot of tugging at the heartstrings like a lot of these like a lot of the Pixar's do. Nobody of any importance really died in the story, so you can't go that route. And you say it's a story of hope. At the very end, you say it's all going to be good, and even though there's all the bad, you still have hope.
Sounds good to me.
I'll be honest, I never actually knew what the story of Pandora's box was. I mean, when he was outlining that all, and they were talking about the wedding night, I thought a whole different box of Pandora was about to get opened up.
Jesus Christ.
It was actually Pandora Box the Drag Queen.
Well, and you know what? I'm sure it is ornate and vajazzled. That drag queen probably goes to the Pretty Kitty located here in Houston.
The Pretty Kitty.
And it's exactly what you think it is.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
So going with our topic and our theme, we want to give it the Disney spin. You know, I was told to come up with some merchandise and something that can be out there in the parks and we can see. Well, right off the bat, you can say, you know, Pandora being female, young, you know, and most of the face characters, the princesses are essentially young. They're walking around, so there's an easy face character walking around. You have Pandora, you know, in the robes, the gold inlay, and all that kind of stuff. You could probably have a Zeus-like character, you know, with the big carrying a lightning bolt. I'm not sure how that would work, but yes.
See, we've already got a Zeus. He is in Hercules because he's on a shirt that I made.
And this kind of, you know, I'm glad you said that this kind of would be in that same circle of the Hercules, you know, just the different side of it.
Are we getting the muses?
You could.
Do we get Thalia? Because that ghetto booty is singing to me right now.
I haven't figured out yet where any kind of music would go into this story. I mean, I'm sure that while she's trying to go capture back all the evil things, she has some song of despair and you know, I can't do it, or you know.
Yeah, I hear it right now. I mean, this is the part during your segment where we decide to write it for you.
Pretty much.
This happens for everybody every time.
Perfect.
Yes.
Trenton was worried about
but I do have some merch. I do have some merchandise. I mean, obviously, you come right off the bat, you say, charms, Pandora bracelets. You know, that seems easy to me. Then the little boxes. And then you can go, like, say, little plushie boxes. Or even, you know, you go downtown Disney Springs. You go.
I'm sorry, I'm taking this all wrong.
Go
Plushy boxes. I just went the
box.
totally wrong way with that comment. Anyway,
You were thinking about her box. We know.
Listen, if you make a plush box, you better damn well not put a working keyhole in that sucker. Or someone's going to try to unlock it.
Flesh tone.
So let's scrap the plush box idea and go plush evil characters.
Or an inflatable box with a keyhole. That's also good.
Just you know, in those high-end shops there at Disney Springs, you can have a fancy gold inlaid box of some sort that's a music box, and say, you know, every time that you know, everyone has a different song. So, you know, whatever it kind of be, it could be something joyous or kind of sinister sounding. You know, music boxes, little trinket box of some kind, and I'm sure they could charge, you know, $300 for something that, you know, yeah,
a Fabergé. You know, here's what I think. I think you make that
inlaid
awesome
with
box.
4,000 Swarovski's crystals.
No, was it the Rebus Brothers?
That's it.
that's right.
Make the Rebus Brothers crystal box.
You make that box, but instead of playing like something nice when you open it, you want the most god-awful racket ever because you're not supposed to open Pandora's box. So the whole point of this box is, hey, you
screeching
have it displayed, and people are like, ooh, what's that? And they go, don't open it. And they open it, and it's just,
and say like, 1 out of 10
violin
actually
chords.
has a decent sounding song. The rest of them are just as clashings, you know.
A hopeful, bright melody, but then what you got is an asshole like me or Trenton walking through there, opening up all the boxes that are on display.
Oh yeah.
This
one.
cacophony of evil.
Oh, like every time I ride on Tower of Terror, I gotta walk past and ring all the bells. The last time I did it, the cast member behind the counter says, "I can assure you, they all work."
Yeah, he got kind of mad at
They
it.
got really mad at me.
Alrighty.
Oh man, would this be live action or animated?
I'm going to go with animation. And like I say, you can still use the same Zeus character as the Hercules Zeus.
So cell shaded, a 2D, not like a.
So like true animation.
Go into true animation. Yeah, I don't think Pixar could really. I mean, I'm sure that they could come up with something, but it may not look great. But I always enjoyed those old, what looked like hand drawn action cells.
Awesome. Do you have any stars or anything, or you just want a fresh cast?
I thought about if you're gonna have somebody that's gonna sing. I don't know. I mean, I was surprised to see Kristen Bell sing as Anna. So I don't know. I don't know who's out there that really has a good voice that could sing. I don't know. Maybe someone. Emma Stone, somebody that has that younger sounding voice. I don't know. I'm throwing.
Let me, sorry. since this is not an on-screen acting thing, okay, and I don't mean anything negative when I say this, why not Kelly Clarkson?
Okay.
Kelly Clarkson.
I mean, she can sing. I don't
She's
know.
too busy doing the voice right now.
Well, right now, but I promise you that as soon as she gets off with the voice, she'll be available.
She would probably do it too, honestly. I mean,
yeah, she has a kid now too, so she'll be all about the Disney movie.
What can she act?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because I was toying with the idea of putting her on my story, but I don't know if she can act.
That Beignet.
What?
Whatever his name is, the guy.
Benoit Balls? What did you just say?
I don't.
Chris Benoit?
No.
Benihana?
No. Yes.
Flavor Flav.
Wait, didn't she do from Justin to Kelly?
That was
it. What's his name? Is Justin Bourgeois or something?
Well, then there's, if you're going to go that way, you can go Britney Spears even. Who was in Glitter? Was it Glitter? She's got kids. She's got kids.
Just go with Jessica Alba, and we'll just be done with this. I want honey.
Bitch better have my honey. All right, Honey Boo Boo. She could do it at this point, right?
There
She's
you
old
go.
enough. She has
June.
acting experience.
Get Mama June in there, man.
Oh God.
Have you seen her lately?
If you guys were just trying to convince me that Emma Stone would be good, you've done a fucking great job.
Compared to those, yeah.
So Matt, you have anything else for us?
No, I think that's it. If I come up with something else, I'll let you.
Sounds good. I don't hate it. I'd like to see it.
It's a story that I think a lot of people probably haven't heard already, so it would be an original movie.
Well, the idea is out there. It's just like I say, people, whenever people knew Hercules as a thing, but then when the story came out, they went, "Oh, okay." Now, granted, it wasn't that well received. I enjoyed it, but yeah, the Pandora's Box that was out there. There was one of the Lara Croft Tomb Raider movies. The second one was actually about the Pandora's Box, which
Oh yeah, that's right.
That was
Lara Croft's
Was that
box.
the Cradle of Time?
Yeah, Cradle of
Or maybe not. Hope.
something.
No, Cradle of
Maybe,
Hand That Rocks.
maybe it was time. But see,
yes,
and there are some
Cat's in the Cradle and the Silver Spoon.
oh, Cat Stevens. There's in some iterations of the Pandora's boxes, they say that only women can open it. I've never found anything that corroborated that. So it could be, you could make it pretty much whatever you wanted.
You couldn't find any factual data of other women opening up this box
Sorry.
in this day and age. They couldn't fiddle with the latch.
Oh god.
It just takes a couple fingers.
Oh no.
God.
Oh my god. All right, Trenton, what's your story? Let's get away from this as
story.
fast as we can.
All right, so let's talk about my story here. Tim and Adam are going to automatically love mine. So I'm going to describe it as
Mighty big claim.
the storyline before I.
Trenton, what are you reading your notes off of there?
Do what now?
What are you reading your notes off of there? That's a really attractive looking binder.
This is my new show notes notebook, created by one C. Madge Nam Doog. along with some other goodies that you brought me the other day. So I finally have a show's notes notebook like everybody else, so I'm going to have collected ideas now instead of sounding like a fucking moron all the time. So, the setting is Nepal. And you see a young man climbing up a mountain from far off. And as you get closer and closer, you see a distinctive orange earring hanging from his left ear. Is it his left ear? Or is it his right ear? His name's Joe, so we'll see. He's... No? We don't know who I'm talking about yet?
I do, but I'm just concerned on how...
Okay.
Where you're going with this.
So, well... You know what? I fucked up the beginning. Okay, so it's not that.
Thank God you got that fancy-ass show notebook.
Well, I have it written actually right. So it's actually written correctly, and then I just wrote it wrong.
Wait, can you read what you wrote?
Yeah, let's talk about
I'm
your
not reading
handwriting.
and it's not a collective idea. It's just little words. So the first thing is it starts off with you see a large Yeti with yellow teeth, a huge brown Yeti. And he is walking into a cave. You see the outline from behind him. You see the light, and then it shows the two smaller white-furred Yetis in this cave. A savage fight ensues. The two older, the mother and father Yeti are killed. Then it pans to a young man with a big dangling fucking earring coming up a mountain, and in the interest of not being seen to preserve his species, as dumb and savage as this large Yeti is, he runs away, leaving our young hiker to find a small newborn baby Yeti in this cave. So instead of, I guess, telling the world about this, he secretly gets this Yeti back to Disney World where he works. And the meat of the story really is that you see the Yeti growing up but still being hidden throughout the Disney parks. This is going to be the first movie I can think of that has actually incorporated the Disney parks into an animated film, I think. You see, I guess the other Imagineers know at this point about this Yeti. He's running around Imagineering. He's small, but he's growing up as he goes. He's trying to hide in the gorilla exhibit in Animal Kingdom. He's trying to fit in the Star Wars area of Hollywood Studios, but eventually he starts, just like any other primate, they can point to maps and they're smart enough and they learn things. He wants to go back to Nepal and see where he's from. So Joe Rohde takes him back, and this is where I started getting fuzzy with my story. I didn't really know how to end it, but it's going to be to the point where he gets found out, and so they're trying to protect the Yeti. So he brings him back to Disney, and essentially they make the ride together, and that's kind of the idea of it. I didn't get time to flesh it out as much as I would like, but I wanted to give some context to and the Yeti that's in the ride is not the good Yeti from the movie, it's the scary one.
It's a disco Yeti.
So it's basically Harry and the Hendersons meets Disney.
Can I suggest a title?
Sure.
Mighty Joe's Young.
Wow. It's also reminiscent of Pete's Dragon.
I was thinking Curious George.
That's fine. I just wanted to give some context to Expedition Everest. So he's over there scouting Nepal for the ride, and that's when he discovered this baby Yeti. And Joe Rohde was playing himself, obviously.
Can he act?
I don't know. He could probably do it. Motherfucker can do anything.
I mean, Joe, just be yourself. And 6 hours later, he's still telling you about the time he was in the jungle of Cambodia. And you're like, Joe, can we get on with what you've done in Nepal?
Then they made me their chief.
Yeah, mind your fucking business is what he would say while he drinks his ice water on the patio of the Nomad Lounge. So,
looking at what he created.
Not as fully fleshed out as I would have liked to have made it. I had a busy weekend, but you get the gist of what my idea would be.
Rescue Rangers.
Yeah, just do something.
A giant eagle.
So is the only casting you have is Joe Rohde?
That was the only one.
Okay.
Only because there's not too many other. I guess you would have to throw some other significant supporting characters into the story, but I think there's really one main voice acting character. You could probably find a bunch of no names to do the other characters in the movie.
Now here's the big question I got with regards to this Yeti, or these Yetis.
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to be entirely CG? Are you using some type of a makeup costume thing, like a little Ninja Turtle thing?
No, it's all
okay,
Pixar style.
I mean, if it's all CG, it's going to be a no from me.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I've never seen Harry and the Hendersons either.
Oh, well, you know what? I went with freaking Ninja Turtles. I should have just said Harry and the Hendersons had, like, no CG. I mean, even the messing with Sasquatch commercials.
Dye the hair white.
How could you have an animated movie without all being...
Oh, it's animated.
Okay, the whole thing is animated.
Yeah, it's like a Pixar-style movie, yeah.
Oh, okay, so you got a stylized version of Joe Rody where he's got gangly arms and legs.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's it. With the big,
and he could...
the earring would be huge. It would be so big.
Just all earring.
That would be...
You can see the Yeti, like, swinging on it like a swing at one point. Just
yeah, like, growing up.
Like, as a baby, he's just batting at it like a cat would, you know? He's just batting at it while he's holding him on his shoulder.
Using it as a teething ring while he's being carried.
Exactly, that would be
like
hilarious. So...
Okay, since you said it's an animated, now it becomes a little more entertaining, I think, because you can do a lot more with it as an animated type film.
I thought I said at the beginning,
with the exception of killing off an entire family of
Yetis.
You know,
it's a Disney movie. The parents had to die.
Primates. No, I'm not above offing some folks in a Disney movie.
Yeah, I mean that had to happen.
So
for the storyline to continue.
What are you selling to me in this movie?
Do you have any? Well, you already have all the Yeti stuff in the park. Is that what you're going off of?
No, not necessarily. It would probably be a new line. I mean, it wouldn't look the exact same as the ones that are currently there. I mean,
will there be a prosthetic ear that you can clip onto your ear?
God, yes. It's like the fucking Banshees. You can control it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was thinking the old back in the 80s, they had the little alligator clips with the feathers on it, so you could be Mr. T.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. You could do something like that and hang it down.
Those hurt so much.
Yes.
You couldn't put a rubber ends.
No, you gotta do like that really creepy guy who thought he was cool in the 90s in junior high that, you know, always walked around with a half-smoked cigarette butt, and it's the magnetic earrings.
Yes.
So it just has the magnetic back on it.
That was my friend. I had that friend.
It just looked like you had a stud right there, you know? But no, you just got two BBs trying to touch each other. There you go, Trenton.
There we go.
Are you taking your clothes off?
Like currently?
No, that's not what you started in.
I took my sweatshirt off like 10 minutes ago.
Oh. Well, I got slow internet. I'm sorry.
He's just catching up, folks. Sorry.
It's all good.
It's kind of a thing.
Alrighty. So is that all you got for us?
Yes. Yeah. That was the idea.
I would see it. I think it's more of a made-for-TV kind of thing.
Either way. It could be a short. It could even be a 30-minute... Or I originally, when I started thinking of the idea, was going to have it in the Pixar theater for the shorts in Epcot, but that's probably not going to be there that much longer. So
no, but they do it in front of each movie anyway. Usually, every Pixar movie has a short, and
true.
That's even better because then you wouldn't have to worry about Joe Rody having to do dialogue.
Good point.
Right.
Very good point.
You wouldn't need dialogue to tell the story that you're telling. You need no dialogue.
Right. That's what I was saying. I don't even care about voice actors because it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Now I'm really excited about it.
See? That's all it took.
Alright. So, I have a feeling Mikey's going to get us in the fields. So, let's pass this over to Mikey.
All right.
And see what
you're
we
asking
got.
for it. You're putting me in the middle, so two of y'all got to follow this.
That's fine. Because we can make it lighthearted.
Mine is not lighthearted, but it's not.
Neither is mine, so it's all good.
Okay, let me get all my notes pulled up here. Okay, so my story is a take on Peter and the Wolf, which that's a fairy tale. It gets more of a fable, right?
Yeah.
Is it a story? Is Peter and the Wolf? I don't know.
So it was well, no. It actually originally started as just a classical musical piece.
Yeah.
You know what?
It was.
Doesn't matter.
This thing. It takes place in the current day, present day. You know, I toyed around with taking it way back, and this, what I have now, has seen 4 iterations before I got to where I am right now. So basically, you got this little boy named Peter. He's like 4 or 5. And if anybody doesn't know the story of Peter and the Wolf, but you have kids, then you know the story of Peter and the Wolf because your kids have cried wolf. Anyway, it's the boy who cried wolf. So anyway, you got this boy named Peter. He's like 4 or 5. You know, you're going to open up and you're going to make sure that everybody gets an understanding that he is well loved by his mom and dad, that he loves them greatly, and that mom and dad are going out for a date night, drop him off with his grandfather. And you got grandpa playing around with little Peter. He's a photographer, so he's got this little in-home studio, and they're dressing up and taking super silly pictures, and this, you know, really beautiful, touching montage going on of just like a grandfather just doting on his grandson. Then there's a knock at the door, which, I mean, all this is totally a total trope up to this point. You know, it's the police. Parents were involved in a fatal traffic accident. Mom and dad have died, which leads you to a scene at the funeral with Peter sitting by his grandpa, and he doesn't know where he is or what he's doing. In his mind, he's just been with his grandpa for the past couple days, staying the weekend. It's you know, because the grandpa's been occupying his time, he's not thinking about his mom or his dad, so he doesn't know. And as he's leaving after the funeral, it's an open casket for his mom. He's able to see her face. And he screams, "Mommy, Mommy!" And he starts yelling louder. And his grandpa's trying to, you know, pull him on out. And he wants to know why isn't his mom waking up? You know, Mommy, don't, can't you hear me? Mommy, why won't she wake up? Mommy, don't you still love me, Mommy? And that's the last scene with him and his parents. And you have him at home with his grandpa. He's depressed. He's not eating. Grandpa doesn't know exactly what to do because it's been a long time since he's had kids. They're all grown up and adults.
Mikey, so when does he turn into Batman?
He doesn't. Sadly, there is no crime fighting. But, you know, I'm sure Trent might get like, hey, what does Grandpa do? He brings him a gift. You know, he gives him a little gift box. Peter opens it up, and what's in the gift box? A little puppy.
Hockey stick.
No, it's this cute little puppy.
Hope's in the box.
No, Hope was in someone else's box. This box had a little puppy that Peter names Wolf. And they are inseparable throughout his childhood. The dog follows Peter everywhere. It brightens him up. He's smiling, he's laughing, he's playing. And the story is just basically going to follow Peter as a boy growing up with his grandpa, snapping pictures, always running around with his pup named Wolf. And as they grow up, you know, the dog gets bigger, Peter gets bigger. Eventually Peter starts to kind of, you know, go through the whole tantrums and stuff like that because he's struggling with how to cope with his parents being gone. And, you know, he sees a picture of his mom and dad, and he gets mad, and he breaks it. He throws something out, and he breaks it. And, you know, his grandpa comes running in. "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I didn't do it." "Well, yeah, you did." "No, I didn't do it. Wolf did it." "Well, there's no way that your dog did that. It's impossible. It's on the wall." "No, Wolf did it." And they get into an argument. There's a fight, and then there's a whole breakdown scene, which is, you know, "You're not my real daddy. You don't love me. I don't love you." Peter grabs his dog, and he runs away. Out the back door into the woods. Runs off. He's gone for like the whole day. Grandpa gets a hold of the police. They get out there. They're in the woods. They're searching for him. Peter is like terrified because now the cops are involved and he realizes he's done something he shouldn't have. And he's hiding. The dog's hiding. They find him. They drag him out. And as he's leaving the woods, he realizes that the dog's still hiding and he doesn't have Wolf, and he's calling out to Wolf again. And it's almost basically a mirror image of when he was a child that is at the funeral of his parents. It's like the exact same type of shot that I want for this, just to call back to what he went through, but the first time. And he's back home, obviously because he was missing. His grandfather called for some help, and his aunt comes over, his mom's sister, and he cries himself to sleep, and his grandfather reluctantly leaves the house to go look for that damn dog to try to bring him back. And he's gone all night long. The storm moves in. He finally shows back up to the house. He's soaking wet, and at his side is this filthy, mangy mongrel of a dog. And Peter's like, oh, wait, and his aunt says, you are not touching that thing until it has been properly laundered and sanitized, because it's filthy. It's been in the mud and the muck and everything like that. So, again, things kind of move on and pick up pace after this, and like a montage of just, Peter growing up with Wolf getting bigger and getting a little older, and Peter's, doing some sports. The dog's always in the truck watching him, head hanging out the window, watching him play in his sports. And you've got... eventually it gets to the point where Peter, goes on his first date, and he's like terrified to leave the dog at home because that's like his safety blanket. That's his emotional attachment. It's not really taking him back to his parents, but it's like the first feeling of love that he's experienced since he lost his parents. So he's like, you're going to be fine. I will come back. You'll be fine. Just stay right there. And of course, the dog whimpers, and then he goes, and it's a beautiful date. He does nothing but talk about his favorite pet named Wolf the whole time. So things move on a little bit further. He's in like high school now. He's older. The dog's not doing so well because we're coming up on like 13, 14 years old at this point for the dog. And he's, his grandfather is basically like, man, you don't have to take the dog with you everywhere. You just need to let him relax, let him be, because he's been with you forever. You've drug him everywhere. He's tired. He's worn out. Look at him. And Peter looks at him. And he's like, no, he's fine. Come on, Wolf. And Wolf's like, no, man, I'm tired. I ain't going. He just kind of lays in the floor and wags his tail and whimpers, but he's not getting up. So reluctantly, Peter goes off, back, to school, or I don't know if he's going to school or work or whatever. But he leaves the house, and Grandpa is there at home alone. You see Wolf watch Peter go. Peter closes the door. Grandpa looks over at the dog. He says, "I think it's time for me to do something I should have done a long time ago." And then you cut back to Peter coming back home, and Wolf's nowhere to be found. He gets upset. He searches. He calls. Then he realizes what happened. And he starts confronting his grandpa about, what went down. And his grandpa's like telling him, it's time. It was time for the dog to go. It's time for him it's time for you to move on and grow up and learn to live a life of your own, to become a man. And Peter's like, you know what, motherfucker, that's fine. I will move on and live my own life. And he, starts packing his shit and he moves out because now he's graduated. He's old enough now. So I guess he wasn't going to school in my previous statement. I'm fleshing this out on the fly, guys.
So you killed his dog, and
so you
Killed
got
his parents, and then you killed his dog.
wow.
So you got.
dude's
And
gonna
then
be
he
a
turns
mass
to a life
murderer.
of crime.
No, he goes on to college. He's doing okay. He's not by any means successful, but he's doing okay. And the years go by. He never speaks to his grandfather again, until eventually, what happens, guys? He gets a notification.
Grandfather gets old and dies.
Grandfather passed away.
Uncle Ben.
And the cat's in the cradle and this.
So now you've got Peter. He's back in his childhood home, basically where he grew up in, walking around, and he's basically completely alone in this room full of people. He's walking around. He's looking. He sees a photo that someone had taken of him and his grandpa and Wolf back when he was a little boy, and he looks at another, photo that his grandpa took of him playing with Wolf, because, Grandpa was a photographer, and there's so many photos on the walls. I mentioned that before, Adam. Remember, Grandpa was taking pictures and silly pictures and stuff in his home studio. So you got all these pictures that his grandfather has. Why are you shaking?
That.
You don't remember that?
Oh.
I'll show you. I'll show you.
I really don't.
Okay, yeah. Grandpa's a photographer. He took a lot of pictures of the boy and his dog, and something is really troubling him. As he's going through these photos, he's not seeing a picture of him and Wolf. He's basically just seeing a picture of him as a boy and a stuffed dog with a bright red collar and a yellow tag on it. And that's when he realizes that, oh shit. He runs and he goes in, he starts throwing stuff around his grandpa's room, digging through all the boxes and stuff like that. And he comes across a box that just has just like a Tupperware box, and it just has a P on it. He gets it down and he opens it up, and inside this box is his stuffed animal that was in the original box that his grandpa brought to him.
Wait,
this little dog.
So wait, this
The
boy
dog wasn't real.
didn't
It's a Calvin and
realize
Hobbes story.
for all these years. Oh wow, he's special.
No, man, it was his imagination,
Yeah, Calvin
man.
Hobbes or Winnie the Pooh.
I mean, he opens the box up, and there's the dog looking rough and filthy, and it's been patched up, and it's got, the same red collar with a bright yellow name tag, and he reaches down and he turns the name tag over. He's like, he can't believe what he's going to see. He turns it over, and there's the dog's name on the name tag, WOOF. Roll credits.
Now on the Lifetime Network.
Do what?
So does this story ever get good, or is it just?
Oh no! It just ended. Everybody's dead, and he realized that the dog was never real, and that was his coping mechanism for having lost his parents.
It's in Inception and a Jacob's Ladder situation all at the same time.
What was the guy on the boat?
Oh, Life
No,
of
it's
Pi.
the guy, the tiger. What the hell was the guy on the boat?
Yeah, that's right.
What the fuck?
Life of Pi?
Life of Pi.
The Life of Pi. That's what it is.
No, except there was a tangible dog for the boy. I mean, it not like
That he didn't realize till he came home from college that wasn't real.
Yep.
Now on the Lifetime Network, starring Nancy McKeon.
Hey man.
What kind of drugs was Grandpa feeding this kid?
As I was fleshing this out, I was thinking, ooh, there's a twist. The dog was never real.
Ooh, there's a part I'm making a Disney movie that has nothing good about it.
I just,
no, it's
I
great.
like the idea.
I
and it
like the
pulls at
twist.
The heartstrings until you made the dog fake.
I like the twist.
Thank you. I'm just, it's a little edgy. This is not an animated film. This is a little darker Pete's Dragon-y kind of film.
Maybe like from Touchstone.
No, this is Lifetime.
Is this the old
I'm
Touchstone?
sorry. This is Lifetime. This is Lifetime.
Yeah, but
movies
you know
for
what?
women.
You can sell the crap out of some of them dogs though in the parks, man.
Oh, yes, you can have a whole bunch of other psycho kids pretending they're real. That's awesome.
Listen, you want to know what my first attempt at Peter and the Wolf was? It involved werewolves.
That would have been better than this.
I'm interested in that.
I mean, it's not a bad story, but it's not a Disney movie.
I don't know what it is. Like I said,
Totally a Disney movie, man.
It's DreamWorks.
No, this is
I don't know.
on their other label they do. I want to see this.
Fox.
Yeah, yes, this would be a
I'm sure
Universal.
from Fox now.
I'm gonna try to sell this to someone else. You know what? Screw it. You think you can do better?
No, obviously not. It just, at least mine was happy at some point.
I okay.
I was very happy because he went on to be a stable genius.
I'd have to cut that out.
Okay. Tim?
Mine's just downright goofy compared to yours.
Yeah, follow that.
Fuck.
I mean, it's not like I killed off Dumbo's mom or anything.
Well, that's been done before. Alright, so I wanted to do a fairy tale, an Italian fairy tale, because Disney hasn't done one yet. And now I know why. Because every fairy tale I looked up from Italian folklore is fucking horrible. It's just filled with murder and death and...
I'm in.
So the only one I found that didn't have, very much murder or death in it is a story called The Three Enchanted Princes. It was written by a guy named Giambattista Basile in 1634. Basically, the
Wasn't he the guy that plays as Drax, the Destroyer,
No, Bastille. They're that band.
in Guardians of the Galaxy?
I know what he's talking about.
No, they have an entire day.
Yes, they do.
Sounds French.
You guys finished?
For now.
You really get started and you cut me off. Jesus. So basically, the synopsis of the story: you got a king of a kingdom called Greenbank, and now I cast him as Brad Garrett. He's got 3 beautiful daughters. Now, in the story, they don't have names, but I gave them names, and I cast them. Sophia is played by Rowan Blanchard from Girl Meets World. Her sister Emma is Sabrina Carpenter, also from Girl Meets World. And the third sister is Victoria, played by Selena Gomez, only because I couldn't think of another Disney star to throw in there. And another kingdom called Fair Meadows, that king had 3 sons who had been transformed into a falcon, a stag, and a dolphin. Now, those are to be played by...
The Jonas Brothers.
No. Nick Jonas is one of the brothers.
Big Time Rush.
But it's Dylan Sprouse, Nick Jonas, and Neil Patrick Harris. The king of Fair Meadows is Patrick Warburton.
No, keep going. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So the 3 brothers were set to marry the daughters of King of Greenbank, but the king would not marry them because they were animals. So the brothers waged war with the king of Greenbank and summoned all the animals of their kind until the king relented. After they were married, the queen gave each of her daughters a ring so they could recognize each other. Fast forward a little bit, the king and queen of Greenbank also had a son. Now this name is the only name that's actually in the story. His name is Titone. And I cast him as Dwayne Johnson because he's in every fucking Disney movie now anyway. So one day, the queen was lamenting that she had never heard what happened to her daughters. She doesn't know what's going on with them. So Titone sent out to find them. He comes across the first daughter with her husband, the falcon. And they stayed for a while, and the falcon grew to like him, so he gave him a feather before he left. Then he sets off again and finds the second sister, who was married to the stag. And the same thing, he grew to like the brother, and he gave him a clump of his hair when he left. And then they found the third sister with her husband, the dolphin. And the same thing, he ended up liking the brother, so he gave him some of his scales when he left. Returning back to his...
Dolphins don't have scales.
I know, but this is the original story. It was written in 1634. They thought dolphins were fish back then. So on his way home, he found a tower where a maiden was being held captive by a dragon. And that maiden is going to be played by Kristen Bell because, she's the latest Disney princess hot thing. So she begged him to save her, so he threw the feather, the hairs, and the scales down, and his brother-in-laws came. And the falcon summoned griffins to carry the maiden to freedom. The stag summoned lions, bears, and other animals to destroy him, and the dolphin had waves engulf the tower to destroy it. This freed the brother-in-laws from their enchanted shapes. They became people again and lived happily ever after with their brides. I also cast the dragon as Patton Oswalt. Just for like a comedic effect. And the evil witch that turned them into their enchanted forms was Jennifer Coolidge.
Already.
It's an animated movie. I mean, this is the least fucked up Italian
It's weird.
fairy tale that I could find.
Yeah, we were just talking about this earlier. That most fairy tales that haven't been done by Disney are
Super
real
dark.
fucked up.
There's a reason. I mean,
as lessons
yeah.
and stuff. They weren't just.
No, they would have been done back in like the 50s. Disney would have done an animated version of some of these screwed up fairy tales back then. You know, like a Hansel and Gretel. You know, the witch eating kids out of an oven. I could have seen that.
Yeah, but it would have
being
been a
done
lot
back
more
in the
tongue
50s.
in cheek. It wouldn't have been a serious movie. Not Disney.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't have, yeah, as far as like that level of seriousness, true, but they're definitely that. I don't know.
No,
if they
but it would have
pulled any
been
punches
Mickey
with
Mouse.
that. I mean,
and
They could
Hansel and
flip
Gretel.
it around
Mickey
where the
and Minnie
kids
as
were the
Hansel and
assholes to
Gretel.
the witch.
No.
No, yeah, no, it would have been a Mickey.
you don't
No,
think
it's
it would have
way
been
too
like
dark.
a Snow White or a
Way too dark.
really?
That's
Yeah.
probably what ended up happening.
I can see them making a joke out of it
like that
because just the timing of it.
Well, it's like they did with the Brave Little Tailor. Mickey as the Brave Little Tailor.
Brave little toaster.
Swats 20 flies with one swing.
Ralph Macchio can catch one with a pair of chopsticks.
After doing wax on,
He
wax
also
off.
whacks a car really well.
Oh, he can also paint a fence like nobody's business. And he plays a mean blues guitar. When you see him at the crossroads. And I'm gonna miss everybody.
Even my fake dog too.
A fake dog wolf.
Well, I went totally different with all of mine. I know you're shocked, and I
I thought I went totally different,
Yeah.
apparently.
I actually did kind of a collection. And
Just like when Scott does a flight on one drink.
no. Well,
Yeah,
sort
it's
of.
he hit his syllabus.
I'll be the Scott for this episode. I kind of went with a little bit different. I definitely decided a Pixar thing. I wanted a bunch of shorts. And I actually decided to use Shel Silverstein's poems
Okay.
as a theme. I mean,
We're on the same wavelength. I had that in my bag as well.
I mean, and just also thinking of it something like how Fantasia was a collection. It was always supposed to be expanded on and added to. This is something that Pixar can kind of take and run with and change authors and change poems and just something that can be interchangeable and constantly changing and expanding. So, of course, you start out with The Invitation, which is basically the dreamers. Everybody comes in. We have a space for you here. No matter where you are, you fit in here. And that would be the opening short. In between each short, I would like to have somebody famous or the it person right now introduce the section as the poem and what it's necessarily based on. So for the first few movies, I have the Falling Up poem, which is basically about, if you don't know it too well, I'm trying not to recite it verbatim, but basically, instead of tripping and falling down, you fall up. Mm-hmm. And the end, pretty much, is you get sick and you throw down. So, I mean, it's tongue-in-cheek, it's fun, and there's a lot that I can see Pixar taking a theme on that and just expanding with it. And again, it's a short, maybe 10-15 minutes on each one. The next one I have is the diving board, which is basically about a kid building a diving board and setting up to get this big dive and never actually dives. The third one I have is the Monsters I've Met, and it's basically about meeting all the monsters at different times, but just never the right time. I have, for a joke one, I have the Dancing Pants, which is just basically what it sounds like. It's pants that get their own thing and dance around. The bittersweet one is the Trampoline. It's basically almost a love story where people keep on missing each other because while one's jumping up on the trampoline, the other one's coming down, and they're constantly missing each other. The weird one I have is Masks. and it's basically that one is basically they're blue people, but they're wearing a mask all the time, and they're looking for other people like them, but because they're wearing these masks, they can never find that other blue person. And to top it all off, my tearjerker would be Where the Sidewalk Ends.
Oh.
And I'm not. That one always
Yes.
hurts. So
I just thought you were going to hit The Giving Tree somewhere in there.
I like The Giving Tree, but it's not one of the Where the Sidewalk Ends still punches you in the face every time.
And wasn't there one of his story poem things about the forgive me because I do not remember everything about it, but they were flying in a shoe.
Yes, that's one of the longer ones. That's actually
Yeah.
one of the
That's what that could damn near be like an actual feature
a full length,
because
definitely.
of their adventures and stuff.
Yes, but that was a few pages if I remember correctly. But I like the idea of shorts. I kind of like the idea of fleshing it out a little bit differently than a long continuous movie. I like the idea of being able to sub in different poems for each section when you want. I would like to make it sort of like how Fantasia was supposed to be, but a little bit more freedom where you have a definitive story to tell. I mean, I grew up reading these books as a kid, so they have a very deep connection to me. And it's also one of those stories where when you do read them, if you read them at different points in your life, they mean something different every time. So it's different when you read it as a kid, and then when you go back and read it as an adult, it really punches you in the face.
Yeah.
And just the meaning behind some of these stories is awesome, and I just think it's a cool idea.
Yeah, I haven't read this in a long time, but just you talking about it reminds me. It's definitely something that I wouldn't mind going back and giving a read.
I like this idea. I don't know how you would link it into the parks.
Yeah.
And it would be a hard sell to link into the parks.
Unless you went with The Giving Tree, because as I said a few episodes back, Disney can build the shit out of a fake tree.
But The Giving Tree can be an all-encompassing movie too, almost.
Yes, it could.
That's right. I mean, it could be a full fleshed-out movie. I like the idea.
It was its own book,
Yes.
wasn't it? Yeah,
Yes, it was.
Book.
It was a full book.
This is the first one he wrote too, I thought.
No, I thought Sidewalk Ends was first. I'm not
Light in the
sure.
Attic?
No.
Oh yes,
No, Light in the Attic was in the 80s. Where the Sidewalk Ends was in the 70s. I think The Giving Tree was in the 60s. The early 60s.
I didn't write all that stuff down. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't write years and stuff. Light in the Attic, I think, was in 81.
Yeah, Light in the Attic was 81. Where the Sidewalk Ends was
64.
74. And The Giving Tree was 64.
Wow. Sorry. I got it all backwards. I just also like the idea that you can change the poets. And just... poetry is a dying thing now.
Writer's stop's
When
gone.
you really think...
I
What?
said the writer's stop is gone in Hollywood studios.
Yeah, I mean, but it's just like it's a thing that nobody really thinks about anymore. And there's a lot of truth. There's a lot of words that can be brought to life in this fashion, I would think.
No, and that's something I think, Adam, if there's a way you could find to encompass that into the parks, it's something that could always change, like you said. You know, it's an easily updatable thing.
I think we should take down Winnie the Pooh and put this.
I'm fine with that.
And this way we can.
I would. You know what? Don't take it down. Retheme the inside. Keep new ride vehicles. Not honeypots, flying shoes. Maybe, I don't know.
Boozy pots.
But yeah, give me like an inside dark ride in the
what,
world
I
of
would do
Shel
an Inkwell.
Silverstein.
I would rather have
Inkwell.
Mikey's dog dying story than Winnie the Pooh.
No, but it's
wasn't a
not a
real
real dog. So nothing really died except for the grandpa and the parents.
In my original draft, I had him go in the backyard and dig him up. But then I was thinking, wait, well, why would you
No, that would
bury
be
a
a little
stuffed
fucking
animal?
morbid and creepy, dude. That's.
Like it's not now. I
Well,
don't
no.
I'm glad
It
you
wouldn't
went
make
with the
sense
fucking
to
stuffed
bury a
animal.
stuffed animal. You just put it in a box and put the box up in the closet, and because it's not a real dog.
Should have had like an old Yeller moment.
So a few of us had backup ideas that we didn't totally flesh out, right?
Some of us didn't flesh out our original idea.
And
didn't have
if
a
by
backup idea.
totally you mean, hey, let's try that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do you want to talk about, like, just mention them? Because we're a little
honorable
short.
mentions? We do honorable mentions out
mentions.
the ass on this show.
Yeah, why not?
Let's honorably mention a few of these. I vote
right.
for Matt to go first.
Sounds good, Matt.
Well, I did have another one that we could tie this into the Norway into Norway. This is a Norwegian tale. It's called The Master Maid. And just roughly, it's
All I'm thinking right now is she went from suck to blow, and that's not what you're going with.
No. Wow.
But that was Mega Maid, not Master Maid.
Suck, blow.
Sorry.
You got to use that Schwartz, man.
So it's let's see. There's let's start. There was a boy that finds a giant for some reason, and this giant has this big castle, and he kind of more or less befriends the giant. He's friendly, lets him into his house, and he says you can go. It's kind of like a Beauty and the Beast thing. You can go anywhere you want except for this room. Well, of course, he goes to that room, finds the titular character, the Master Maid. She's a beautiful woman that they become friends, and they end up escaping the giant because he was keeping her as prisoner, essentially. One thing leads to another, that the prince has to go back home because his brother was getting married, and he got poisoned by the brother's sister-in-law. It's kind of convoluted, where the maid has to find the prince and regain his memory, because the poisoning made him forget about the maid. So then she has to remind him who she was and how they were in love. And the story is that they essentially save each other in the end. Yeah, the dark side of the story says that after everything was back to normal, the prince finds the girl that poisoned him and straps her to 24 horses and pulls her to pieces.
Hot. I don't know what to say about that.
Holy shit. See, now, here's the problem with me is I'm trying to figure out, do they all run in half-hour directions, like on a clock, and go 24 different honest-to-God ways?
It's
drawn
in quarters to...
No, it's drawn in 24.
20,
Yeah.
Whatever the
24th.
math is. I can't math right now.
Yeah, I couldn't math with 24. It's like, how many ropes? How do you tie somebody? Oh, that's a lot.
All I'm going to say is the two fastest horses are going to win this. Then you got 22 horses just running for third place.
So that's 22 horsepower then, too, just pulling you apart.
Yeah, I mean, to make it interesting, you'd probably give them each 50 yards. just to make it interesting. That way they get up to a full-blown gallop when it's go time. And the victim's writhing like, what are you doing? You can't do this. And then it's just limbs.
All right.
Sorry, I went too deep on that.
So
fine.
So that one, you have both a prince and princess in the story. And like I said, in Norway, it's a Norwegian tale. Not sure about marketing, how that could be. Just, I don't know.
24 horse playset.
Giant. I mean, I know that they've got
tear apart doll.
You've got all the trolls right now, but then you could have giants and.
Well, they got the BFG too.
Sure.
Oh, that was a big flop.
So yeah, that was my week backup.
My week backup overwhelmed me, and I had to stop looking at it.
Those are the best.
It just got too big, and I got so lost because I couldn't figure out which story I wanted to do. I was thinking, I don't know if anybody's read any of these books, but Discworld series by Terry Pratchett. It's fun science fiction / fantasy, but there are way too many stories, and I got overwhelmed as to which group of stories I wanted to discuss. I mean, it just got way too big and it got very far away from me. And there were certain characters that I had to have in it that just didn't make sense in one storyline. So I tried to adjust it and it got away and I just stopped looking at it. But it's a lot of books. Terry Pratchett's one of my favorite authors. If you want to read something really funny that's really not too politically correct, look up Good Omens. It's a fun book. It's about the Antichrist getting lost as a baby.
Damien?
Well, I have one more. Because it was too easy and Disney already kind of did it. So I put Kingdom Hearts as a movie. The video game. Yeah. I would like to see that. I don't know, like, if it would count, because technically it's a fairy tale that Disney kind of created. But there's no movie on it, so that was my cheat.
I'm surprised no one put a Dreamfinder movie.
That's almost too easy. Yeah.
Sacrilegious.
Really hard.
No.
But again, I mean, I would like to see it based on the comics.
Yeah.
Because the comics were actually pretty good.
My backup was actually going to be kind of a... I was just thinking, damn it, we had the troll earlier today. So my backup was going to be kind of a take on the Three Billy Goats Gruff.
Yeah, there you go.
Ooh, nice.
But instead of Billy Goats, obviously, and this would be an animated film with not necessarily... not as... lifelike characters as like you see in most of the Disney animation, films like Pixar or like Frozen and Tangled and stuff like that. A little more stylized versions of humans and whatever. But like I said, instead of Billy Goats, this is going to take place back in like the medieval times, and it's not really a troll. It's just a big, kind of ugly and ridiculed boy who just grew too big, kind of a Hodor, kind of. And he's big, but he's simple, and he doesn't know that he's better. That he's better than these other boys that always pick on him. These three boys, these three assholes, and they're all named Billy. Because I just figured, what the hell? Why not? It's my story. And they always pick on this guy, and basically by picking on him, they push him to a point where they're like, you got to sit on this bridge, and you got to, basically extort people for whatever they got before they can get across, or we're going to beat you up, and that's what he does. So he's basically sitting on this bridge extorting people, and they take one look at him, and they're like, oh my God, because he's all disfigured and stuff, and like, yeah, here, please take it, whatever, They're almost playing up on people's charity. So he's actually getting plenty of goods, but not because he's angry, because he's the most docile thing in the world, but it's just people are giving him stuff based on charity. And it's keeping the Billies at bay. But eventually a little blind girl walks up with her dog, and she can't see him for anything, and they become friends because she's not afraid of him based on his looks. And that leads him to a little bit of an empowerment thing, and he can, overcome his deal with the Billy Bullies. And it's also carries a strong message about bullies and stuff like that, and being comfortable in your own skin. And, it's got a little bit of, I'll be honest, it's basically Eric Stoltz in the movie Mask with Laura Dern. Sam Elliott and Cher.
Plot twist, the bullies don't really exist except in his head, or as dolls on the side.
Oh no, they really exist, because they also torment the little blind girl, and that's when he realizes he has that's his moment, when they're picking on the little blind girl. That's his
so
turning
he doesn't
point.
Just throw the dolls that he thought were the Billy Goats into the water and watch them float away.
He asks everyone three questions, and if they get them wrong, they get catapulted in the pit of despair.
That's right.
Or they get attached to 24 horses and pulled apart.
So yeah. Okay, in hindsight, perhaps my backup would have played better to you assholes than my primary story.
Listen, I'm in if you get Christian Nairn to play.
I'll be honest, I didn't flesh out my Billy Goats at all until I started talking 5 minutes ago. Like, all I had was, a troll. And outside of that, I had nothing. And all of that was off the cuff as I'm going. So, obviously, I spent all my time on the wrong story, except, I wanted that shot. And you know what? M. Night can direct Peter and the Wolf.
Yeah, it would be perfect.
Yes, and it would flop.
Maybe he can make his comeback
because
with a
what was
Disney
the
film.
last good movie he put out?
I heard that
Split.
the elevator devil movie was pretty good.
Split.
surprisingly.
Oh, it was horrible. That movie was
Was
horrible.
It was
Whoa,
so
no,
bad.
it wasn't.
The elevator movie, the devil in the elevator movie.
Oh, just called Devil.
That wasn't that bad either.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
But his
horrible.
last one was Split.
I
It
don't
was
know.
No, that's what I thought Tim was saying was horrible. Split was good.
yeah,
With, what's his name? From
Yeah.
Wanted?
Oh, that guy. Yeah,
Uh,
Morgan
he has
Freeman.
the eye.
Professor
I can't
X.
think of his name.
What's his name?
Patrick.
No, the young one.
No, the young one.
Ewan. No, not Ewan McGregor. No, it's the other guy.
Yeah.
The one from the Train Spotting. Nope, that's still Ewan McGregor. Are there any other British? Liam Neeson. That's the other British actor. No, not Liam Neeson. Okay, well then I got nothing at this point. For
Any of the
British
Doctor
actors.
Who's?
Is it the guy from the movie
James
about
McAvoy.
the
Yeah,
King's
James
Speech?
McAvoy.
That guy. Is it that guy? The King's Speech? Is it him? Hugh Grant. The guy from Avatar.
Yes, it's always the guy from Avatar.
Chris
the
Pratt.
English actor who never acts with an English accent. He doesn't have an English accent, Tim.
You can have one.
No, he couldn't.
Who's-
You know what? I would pay money to go see him in a film where he had to have an English accent.
I would not, because I think it
I'm
would
kind
be
of excited to
awful.
see the new Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly movie where there's Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson. And it takes place in old-time England. I'm wondering if they're going to try for the accents or just say, fuck
Are
it,
you
it's comedy.
serious? I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
That sounds horrifying
Yeah, me
to me.
either.
No, it sounds great. I mean, obviously Will Ferrell would be Sherlock, a bumbling detective, and then Holmes is the brains behind it.
What's gonna be more disappointing, that or the come to find out that Dundee movie was just a fucking fake ad for Australia?
You know what? Okay, you
I'd
asked
rather
me
be a
that.
fake fucking ad for Australia because I don't want to see this
Yeah.
movie at all.
It looked.
Oh my god, that movie
It is a
terrible.
fake
It
ad for
doesn't-
Australia.
It doesn't make sense.
I was actually, I hated it when I first saw like the first little teaser trailer, and I thought, really, they went with him just because for no good damn reason. But then I saw the next
fucking
couple trailers, and I was like, okay, there's Thor, there's Thor's baby brother, okay, there's Harley Quinn, okay, I don't know her, but she's short hair, tattoo, I'm in, and I'm like, oh fuck, Wolverine's in it, oh shit, Robin Hood's in it, son of a bitch, I want to see this movie. And then it wasn't a movie. And I was like, are you shitting me? I have no desire to go to Australia now just because of that marketing campaign.
Yeah.
And I used to want to go to Australia and like play with shit to kill me. No, just no.
I'm not allowed to go to Australia because Tim would kill me on the flight.
So I don't know when this article's from. I just came across it. The breaking news that Rock and Roller Coaster is closing for Iron Man overlay at Walt Disney World Studios Paris.
Paris. They got a rock and
Yeah.
roller coaster?
That's been for a while because Paris is
Is
actually
it? Okay,
getting.
I just saw it.
Paris is actually getting a Marvel land area.
Oh, February 11th. It says, yeah.
Let's wrap this up.
Let's wrap it up like an 18-year-old at a mixer.
I have no idea on how to close this.
I got this, guys. So we got a lot of fantastic ideas. At least 4 of these 5 are collectively thought of as good ideas. And let's be honest, in the world of Hollywood, there is a shortage of original film ideas that are being made into movies. Everything is a sequel or it's a reboot. And and Disney looks at the fact that, you know what, sequels are making us a shitload of money. Look at Marvel. I mean, they just keep cranking out Civil Wars and Captain Americas and Iron Mans, and they just keep so. I like the idea of throwing some fresh meat in front of the people and let them gorge, let them feast their fantasies on. Okay, I'm back on Tim's 24 horses thing again. I'm sorry. And cannibalism because you got mincemeat. So this, I liked it. I'm gonna say for Matt's first ever guest spot on a podcast, and we threw this at him. I thought he did fantastic.
He did awesome.
Thank you very
Good job, Matt.
Yeah.
I'm all about some, opening up and looking in some boxes to see what's there.
Don't dig too deep.
Hey, you know what? If I fits, I sits. If Trenton, that
Yes.
I'll be honest. Of everybody's, you had the most, my opinion, the most unique idea. And as we all talked around it, and that's what's awesome about stuff like this when you get 5 people that can hang out and BS and talk. You can take something rough around the edges and refine it to the point where everybody gets excited to want to go see it. Like me, at first I was like, but by the time we were done, I was like, yeah, I want to see this. And why someone doesn't just animate an homage to Mr. Rhodey just like this is a travesty. It's a shame. So I'm with you, Tim. I don't remember anything about yours really, except it's Italian, and it had an all-star cast. You had The Rock not playing a hawk like he did in Moana. Someone else played the hawk. And you had Selena Gomez in it, which if you've seen her Hands on Myself video, that's going to be a hot movie. Adam? Yes to everything Shel Silverstein.
Yeah, we couldn't even say no to that.
Yeah, no, I was just yes to all of that. Even if it was his worst of.
Yeah.
It's still better than watching some boy cry for a fake dog.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Like I said, I thought I had something good, but I should have gone with the
troll.
The troll and the blind girl. Apparently, that was more heartwarming than a child struggling with loss and how he gets through it and how he copes and how you shouldn't judge someone based on what they're.
So much coping. It was just sad the whole time.
Yes, it's exactly it. You knew something
bad
was going to happen.
Depression's not happy.
The second he got the dog in a box, the dog is either dying, going to die, the grandpa's going to... Everybody's dead. We just know. We're just waiting for the tearjerker to happen.
And you know what? I killed everybody off but Aunt Cass, apparently. It's what I did. This is, instead of Big Hero 6, this is a fake dog instead of a robot. And chicken wings that melt your face. So, okay, I'm going to just let everybody make some closing remarks now because I don't know how to end things. So, Trenton, because you're first on my screen, you're the lower right-hand corner, which is how I count.
You count from the lower right-hand side?
Well, if that's where number 1 is, you stinky dog, you sly devil.
Oh, I don't want to be a dog, so I might fucking die.
No, but you might be fake. You might be stuffed.
You might be fake. Oh.
Trenton, are you a figment of our imagination?
He's not a purple dragon.
Yet. I just want to say thanks to Matt for coming on the show. It's awesome to have you, man. You know we all love you very much. You're just like one of us.
Yeah, he had to think long and hard about accepting the request.
Yeah, he was. I know we hang out with you all week playing, video games or whatnot, but it's nice to have you on here. But thank you for coming on. I wanted to thank everybody that downloads the podcast every week, that goes on and gives us reviews, that makes us feel special for doing this, and makes us want to keep doing what we're doing. If you're not on the Facebook page, head over to facebook.com/group/3sheets. We're all on there, and who knows, you could become a super sheeter like Matt and be on the show one day. Probably not, but maybe.
Depends on how many nudes you send us. I mean, that's honestly that's what it is. I've seen enough of Matt.
Nipples as money.
It's a currency, is what it is.
Nipple money.
Nipple money. Milk money.
Milk money.
MILF money.
Nipples, Adam, can you milk me?
And he smiled at her while he was drinking it. He was like, "Hey, you like this?"
Oh, that noise! Fuck.
That's what noise I make when I milk.
Let's go from nipple money to Tim. What's your closing?
I got one more show of being sober and I can't do it. I need to drink when I hang out with you fuckers. It's the only way I can deal.
Nipple money would be way funnier if you were drunk.
It would. I think because you need that alcoholic haze to help you not see all the crap coming at you when I talk.
And to numb the pain of a dead dog, and it's a fake dog, and his parents are killed, and
Grandpa died too.
But Joe Rhodey though.
That just sounds weird.
And you get it.
And a Yeti.
You get
Joe
open.
Rhodey and a Yeti.
You get to open some girl's box.
Adam, do you have closing remarks?
I just really gotta say one thing about everybody who's on the Facebook page. We really created a great community, and when they come for us, they come for all of us, and it was shown today with our troll. So I want to say I really appreciate you guys having our backs. You know, we have yours. We're as much of a dysfunctional family that we can be at times. I really, truly appreciate it. I never thought this would be this big. So thank you, and we look forward to seeing you in the parks in November. And I guess, Matt, do you have any closing remarks?
I just got to say thanks for the invite to be on the show. It's a great honor. Like I said before, I listened to you guys for the whole time now, and I've made some friends. I mean, with meeting Mikey and his family, they're fantastic, and I'm going to meet the rest of you in November, where we will probably not ever sleep, but just keep the steady IV of booze going, and maybe run a little bit. And it's great. I appreciate the time that you've given me, and I'll go nerd on you and say, may the force be with you.
Awesome.
There we go.
Mikey.
Okay, I'm going to piggyback on what Adam said, just because this is my planned comment anyway, with regards to the individual that. First off, on behalf of Scott, we are sorry he got approved and passed the vetting process that Scott did, and formally welcomed him in. And it's not even the fact that Three Sheet Nation basically created the Three Sheet Militia to combat this guy.
Vengeance.
Going back and seeing how things were handled, it's the way that it was handled was with competent rhetoric and dank memes. Okay, it was a combination of all of that, and GIFs and just everything. It wasn't just you're an idiot. I mean, I swear to God, a few people tried to sway him into no, this is why we like Disney and why you should like Disney. And that brought a little tear to my eye. So, Three Sheets Militia, all of you Minutemen that came to call when the enemy was at the gates, we thank you. He won't be the last troll, I'm sure, because this is the internet. But thank you all. It was nice to see the way everybody banded together and just engaged with this guy, I think, in a way he wasn't anticipating, which is probably why he was so boring to deal with, because instead of everybody getting angry, everybody just wanted to help this poor soul. And that says a whole lot about us. So,
especially
thank you all. Yeah, early
in the morning. That on a Sunday. Forget it.
I woke up to this, and and then that says a lot about him. Thank you to everybody who handled it, because it was handled with more tact, I think, than the five of us hosts could have managed. So we appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to in a couple of weeks having a drink with Tim and Adam again, because it's been too long. Watching Adam drink some shitty flavored spring seltzery carbonated water, and Tim has just been drinking straight up water. And if I'll tell you what, Three Sheets Nation, if you could see Tim right now, this man needs a drink.
I'm desperately need a drink.
If anybody needs a drink, it's this
glasses
guy.
To christen.
And I know I said we shouldn't go on 5 minutes saying our goodbyes, but
yeah, go for
okay. I want to thank all of you for joining us tonight. There's not going to be a Magical Meltdown plug at the end of this, because everybody hears that. What there's going to be is just a solemn thank you and a note saying how much we love you. And you are more than welcome to come join us over at Three Sheets on Facebook at facebook.com/groups/Three Sheets. Come interact with us and bring your friends with you, because it's no fun being the only person at a party. So with that, I'm going to say thank you for this time. No, thank you for your time and this time. And until next time and all the times thereafter, so long for just a while.
And thank you.